Well, folks, we are headed out of California once again. Got a load of produce. We almost always get a load of produce. I wanted to talk just a minute about Halloween is coming up. All Hallows Eve. It's I think it's one of the harvest festivals of the pagan religion. And when I was a kid, of course, I wasn't saved, wasn't really brought up in church or anything. We went to church every once in a while, not that often. But Halloween was one of my favorite holidays because I liked, as a little kid, I liked dressing up and getting candy, and we would go to haunted houses and all that stuff. Now, back then, in the 70s, it wasn't, the haunted houses weren't as dramatic. We went, the girls were teenagers, and we went to one of the big ones in Atlanta where you had to sign a 40-page waiver, and I think it was like $40 a person back then. This would have been early 2000s, I guess. And at this one in particular, they had Linda Blair. Most of you probably don't know who Linda Blair is. She was the actress that played that little girl in The Exorcist that got possessed of the devil. And that came out in the late 70s. I don't know. I remember I was young. I was probably 12 years old or so. And that movie was so horrifying that it was a big deal. I mean, this is back when everybody still went to the movie theater, and there were lines around the block, and there were people passing out from fear. Nowadays, it's probably a mild movie. I don't know. But it was just a horrifying movie, and it was about this little girl that got possessed of a devil by playing with a Ouija board, and they brought in an exorcist, which was from the Catholic Church, and basically that was the whole movie. And I attempted to read the book back then, and it scared me so bad. I wasn't saved at the time or anything, so there was no defenses up against Satan. But and when I first saw that movie, I had nightmares, and it really haunted. That movie was the scariest movie I've ever seen, probably still to this day. I don't like scary movies. I don't like horror flicks. I don't like the gruesomeness and all the blood and gore that they have to put in them. And I don't watch movies of any kind, really, but I really don't like horror flicks. But Halloween, and then you got the pagans and the witchcraft and the warlocks, and where is it? Leviticus, I know we're warned against warlocks and witches and enchanters and keepers of times and things of that nature. Paul even said that we're fighting against principalities and powers and evilness in high places. I forget exactly where it is, but where it's talking about the groves, and he was an evil king, and he did evil in that which is in the sight of the Lord, and he built up the groves, and then I think Manasseh, I'm not real good on my kings, but I think one of them, he tore down the groves. And the groves, like in the woods and stuff, you always see the witches meeting in the woods. And terrible, the Ku Klux Klan met in the woods, and they would burn a cross and do whatever they did around hold their little rituals, and the witches do the same thing. And the most powerful human beings in America, at least, the rich and famous, they get invited to this place called the Bohemian Grove. And at this place, Alex Jones, I don't know, or it doesn't matter what you think of Alex Jones. When he first got started, he snuck a camera and snuck into the Bohemian Groves. You can look it up on YouTube. And they got this great big owl that they're worshiping, and they have a mock, maybe it wasn't even mock, sacrifice, human sacrifice, and they're doing tributes to this owl. And if you do a study on that, the birds, the evil birds and things, you can look into that a little bit in the Bible. And a lot of people believe they have something to do with demons and stuff. And my sister was, she's died in her sins. She was a pagan and practicing witch, and she had an altar to, I think, Sophia, or one of the demons that they worship in the pagan religion. But I remember going in her house, and you just could feel anyway. So the witches and the pagans, I think they're the ones that really started All Hallows Eve. It came by a lot of different names. We call it Halloween. It really didn't get big in America until, I think, the 1950s. And they so-called tamed it down. I've gone to church activity stuff where they had a hell night, and basically what it was a haunted house with, a gospel message. It was, and at the end of it, they would give you a gospel message. They showed everybody dying and going to hell, and I don't know if we have to do all that. I don't think we have to celebrate times or seasons. As a matter of fact, I believe we're commanded not to. But in the Bible, one of the best things, about people that are possessed of a devil is in Mark chapter 5. And I wish I had my Bible in front of me, but he cut himself and no man could bind him. And these are all signs of demon possession. And I really believe, the Bible calls it possessed of a devil. But I really believe that it's more prominent. There's principalities and evil powers in high places, and the groves are built up. And, the Catholic Church, they turn to whatever they believe is Jesus, this statue of what they call Jesus Christ, and they bow down before it and offer a wafer, and they eat of things sacrificed and drink the blood, and they do exactly what we're commanded not to do in Acts chapter 15. but they do it. So there's a lot of deception out there. The devil, he don't ever put all his eggs in one basket. He's got a whole bunch of baskets, folks. But I would give you a warning now. Halloween, I'm not going to sit here and say there's something wrong with a little kid dressing up as a pumpkin or something and going and getting candy. But you got to watch out what spirit is behind these holidays. And it is definitely a night of demons and devils. And so I would give a warning against that. Now, my grandkids, they get taken to the mall, and because you can't trust anybody. When I was a kid, you could go door to door and not worry about anything. Now, if you go out and, I've been in this house I own since 2003, so almost 20 years, and never have I had a trick-or-treater come by. But the girls will take the kids up to the mall, and Danielle's girls they're all teenagers now, well, all but one, and she's talking, of course, she's the one that was the worship leader in the Pentecostal church, and now she's just totally backslidden. But she's talking about taking them to one of these horror houses, and I am against it, because there's some spirits connected to those things. But that guy in Legion in Mark chapter 5, that's a pretty good place to reference if you think somebody is possessed of a devil. The self-mutilation, that's a sign of devil possession. And great strength, over emotional. He was crying and screaming, and no man could tame him. Nobody could get around him. I mean, you can probably in your own life, but I meet people like that all the time, that they're just over emotional. These are all signs of devil possession. But and then in Acts 14, I forget exactly where. I'm not real good at remembering where, my memories, but where the exorcist, the Jewish exorcist, and they went in, and the devil beat him up. He fell upon them, and they ran out naked. He said, "Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are you?" Listen, folks, that's something you don't want to hear a devil say to you. Who are you? But the only thing that can conquer Satan, I know you got a lot of people that claim to be Christians, and they say that they bind crazy Satan. They're not doing anything. Jesus can. The blood of Christ can overcome. He can't mess with the blood. Satan can't cross the blood. Way back in Exodus, he said, "When I see the blood, I will pass over you." When the death angel came on the door there was the blood. Now, when you're saved, you are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. You are sealed by the Holy Spirit until the day of redemption. So you have that blood covenant, and you are protected. But even as a Christian, and I know this for a fact, you can open doors, you can give place to the devil, and boy, if you give him a little insight, he'll be right in there. So I guess all I'm saying is beware, be careful. This world's getting more and more devil possessed, I guess, and it's gonna evil men will wax worse and worse until the day of redemption. But you guys be careful out there. If you have kids, use your own judgment. But these haunted houses, these horror movies, all that stuff that everybody's so into at this time of year, can be a doorway in, folks. I remember even as a Christian, I read the book Dracula. I was backslidden, but I read the book Dracula, and that Bram Stoker's the big, thick book, and I was intrigued with it. But I think he wrote that in the 1890s, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but anyway, even in that book they mention, the devil a lot, and how Dracula and those women that were in his castle, they were possessed of the devil, and he called them jackals and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Appreciate all y'all's prayers for my mothers. If you got any prayer requests, I'll leave them in the comments, and may the Lord bless each and every one of you. God bless you. Read those Bibles. That's a good place to be. It's in your Bible. And pray without ceasing. Have a wonderful day.